Hi, Diane. So thanks for coming in. I spoke with you over the phone, so I know that some of your issues are around one of your friendships, and I'm looking forward to talking with you about it. Before we start, I just wanted to go over some of the, privacy policies. So obviously, all of your information is protected. As far as cancellations, we do ask for 24 hours notice ahead of time. But again, if there's an emergency, we'll take that into consideration. In terms of payment, that typically goes to the insurance company. And in terms of sharing information, that's always with your written consent. So do you have any questions about this? I'll give you this summary that you can keep. But
Okay.
so you can just sign that you understand what we talked about.
Okay. And I sign this here.
Mm-hmm.
And let's see, the date is, my birthday was the 9th. So 15th maybe? Okay. I'm never good at remembering that.
Okay, great. So maybe you could start by telling me a little more about what's going on.
Yeah, so, all right, so what's going on now is I have this friend who calls me and tries to keep in touch. She cares about me. She clearly cares about me. I've known her for 30 years. I don't really enjoy her company, and there's, at this point, just nothing in the relationship that works for me. And so I don't, so when she calls, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to say. I don't know whether I should call her back, not call her back. She'll send me emails and catch me up on all of her news. And I feel really guilty if I don't, respond. That's, incredibly rude. And yet I don't really want it. I don't want it to have more of a relationship with her than I do now.
Yeah.
So it's like whenever she calls, or whatever, I don't know what to do. I just don't know what to do.
Does she live nearby, or is this more of like a long distance
So
relationship?
she does live nearby, but we don't run into each other. Although we have run into each other. I mean, and she's doing a lot of traveling. But I think I probably need to tell you more about, a long time, why. I don't know. You tell me what you need to know.
Well, okay, so it sounds like your personalities maybe don't mesh too well.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that's right?
She's a pushy Jewish lady, and my friends, to the extent that I have a lot of friends, I don't have friends, but I'm friends with pushy Jewish ladies, and my sister's a pushy Jewish lady. We might have to strike it from the record. No, but so it's you know what it is, there used to be a reason for us to have a friendship because we used to play music together. That's it.
Okay.
We used to play music together.
And you don't anymore?
And now we don't. And I have a lot of friends who are basically music friends.
Uh-huh.
And she's always seen herself as more than my music friend, and to some extent she used to be. But at this point it's not that we don't mesh, there's no connection, there's no reason for the relationship, if that makes sense.
It sounds like she's pursuing the relationship more than you have.
Right. And I also am aware that she has, because she talked to me about it and complained about it and was very upset about it, she has a history of at least one close friend at some point saying to her, I just don't want to be friends anymore.
So she's already...
that goes through my head when I that's not an option. I really can't say.
Yeah. She's already very sensitive to that.
Yeah.
Which could be part of why she pursues it so much, if she's sort of worried about having
That I'm-
lost friendships
right,
in the
that
past, kind of worried that if she doesn't keep pursuing it, that it won't,
Yeah.
Is there...
That's true, because most of the time, like when somebody keeps reaching out to you and you only half-heartedly like reach back and you don't reach back independently, you tend to say, you tend not to continue, right?
Yeah. But she seems
Yeah,
a
but
little
she
more like she
continues.
needs it in some way.
Right. Yeah, that's a good point, because she's had enough clues. If she were open to clues, she's had enough clues. I don't, excuse me for burping, I'm not initiating contact ever.
And that might be one of her limitations,
Right.
interpersonally, if this has happened before with friends, where they sort of had to literally tell her, which most people in adult relationships don't need to literally say, I don't want to be friends anymore. Usually people will get it with, other cues, but she seems not to really either pick up on that or want to see that.
Right.
Is there a reason why you guys don't play music anymore?
Yes, and this is like, it should have been my opportunity to say, walk out the door and never come back, because we used to play music together, and so we played trios. She plays the piano, and we played trios with a woman. We played trios with a woman who plays the cello, who she was friends with initially, and it started essentially because it's okay if I can use her name, right?
Yeah.
So it started essentially, the relationship started because Fran, the person we're talking about, was basically trying to take care of me, was trying to help me.
Mm-hmm.
So she initiated this musical relationship, and we played, the three of us. She introduced me to Carrie, and the three of us played music. I want to say, I like 5 years. I mean, a significant amount of time, so that it was really became part of my life. And then at some point, this is interesting now because it all comes back. She said to me, I don't want to play music with you anymore and she explained to me that I just wasn't a good enough player to play with her. She didn't want to play music with me anymore. and in looking back, I should have said goodbye, but I didn't. And what the heck is the matter with me that, like, if somebody, I'm so bad at that. Like, if somebody, like, we're sitting on this couch. This is like a friend who out and out was dissing me.
Right.
And instead of saying, fuck you, you're out the door,
right.
I was like, I basically didn't respond. And this is what I do, because when people are like mean or whatever, I'm like, I can't believe they're being so mean to me, and I don't push, I don't fight back. I'm like, if anything makes me want to cry.
Well, it's like you're in shock, like,
Yeah, but some people are right there.
Yeah.
Some people are in touch with their anger. I'm not.
Some people, I think, not so much in touch with their anger, but are more like fight response. That they've sort of developed as they've gotten older, where yours might have been a more not back down, but like stop and see what's going on and try to figure it out. Whereas some people, it's just like, I'm gonna lash out to protect myself.
Yes. Yeah, so right. Yeah, I don't lash.
Yeah.
It doesn't always serve me well, but I don't lash. But anyway,
I'm sure it serves you well in a lot of situations.
Maybe. Maybe.
Yeah, I mean, she definitely seems like a lot of social cues that most people would, or like social conventions that most people go by. Most people would not say that. They might come up with a reason why they couldn't play with you anymore or something. Right. They wouldn't just come out and say that.
You don't play well enough. I don't want to play with you anymore. You're right. That's a really weird thing to do. And we've never revisited it. Like, and it's so many years now. Like, could I say, I don't really, you can stop calling me now because I really don't want to be friends because you
You're
really
not
hurt
good
my
enough.
feelings
Well,
15 years
you know,
ago.
I'm a better friend than you. You're not really a great friend. I'd rather hang out with other friends, just like you were a better musician.
Mm.
But I wonder too if like that kind of put a sour taste in your mouth for the whole friendship. If she sort of is a bossy Jewish lady like some of your other friends that you seem to get along with, maybe this is something that is one of the things turning you off from being around her. Do you feel like there are other things that you don't like being around her about? Do you know what I mean? Like, because you're saying she's
right,
like
so
a lot of your other
things,
friends,
right?
But you don't enjoy her company or her interactions with her. Is it that experience of being hurt, or is it more of like her personality?
That's a good point. I don't know how much it is always in the back of my mind that she basically did something so hurtful.
Mm-hmm.
It may be.
Did you ever talk to her about it after she?
No, I never have.
Which I feel like is
never have.
There's got to be some amount of like unresolved angry feelings.
Right.
Like if you never get it out to the person, it's always in there.
Right. You're absolutely right. But you can't 15 years later say.
I mean, you could say like, hey, something reminded me of this, and I just, wanted to let you know that it really hurt my feelings.
So this is what reminds me of it. So maybe I do have a way to do this. It's a number of years ago now, like at least 3. I don't move very quickly, but at least 3 years ago, I was playing duets with my friend Gary, who's a pianist, and then we were thinking about playing piano trios, and so I thought of Carrie, who I hadn't seen for so many years. I think maybe I ran into her because I do run into her from time to time, and I said to her, "Would you like to play piano trios?" And she said, "Yeah, that'd be great." So I started playing piano trios with Carrie again, and Gary.
Carrie and Gary.
Yes, Carrie and Gary, and we just gave a little recital at a music store. It was a lot of fun, and so part of me first of all, Carrie's a better player than Fran. Carrie's a better musician than Fran, and Carrie is perfectly happy to play with me. She likes playing with me.
Right.
And so I have something to, anyway.
It's not, you can feel, it reaffirms that it's not me, it's something.
Right, well
something up with Fran. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's not like this universal thing. Right.
She's a snob. I mean, Carrie puts up with people who don't play as well. And that's like, it's okay not to, that's Fran's choice.
Right. Yeah, but it's not, but also it's like, what are you playing for then? Or like, what is the, you only going to play with people that are better than you or exactly the same as you,
right?
Or,
I many times had the thought, well, the joke's on her because I'm really enjoying playing these piano trios.
Right.
And I play music all the time. I don't think she has the kind of opportunities to play music that I do, and I don't think she plays as much as I do. I know she doesn't.
Right. Yeah.
So, joke's on her. She kicked me out, but I'm better on the outside.
Yeah, I could definitely see if somebody did something like that and then never having had the chance to air it out or express it at all. How could you not be, even though it seems silly to be angry at somebody for such a long period of time, it was never resolved, so it could never be let go.
Right. Well, but and to some extent, from my standpoint, there's no reason to resolve it because I don't see enough in the relationship. Right. I don't think, unless it's just anger about this, I don't see enough in this relationship other than the music that I feel like, oh, I really want to maintain this dear friend, even though we don't play music anymore. Because I don't feel like, And maybe I did. Maybe I did for a while. I can't even remember back. But maybe right after this happened, I felt that there were other aspects of the relationship that would continue.
It would be interesting to see what would have happened if that didn't happen, like if you just stopped playing music naturally, and then see if you still value the relationship. You
Right.
know?
Right. We could do that experiment. Can't do that.
Right. But it sounds
Yeah, I don't
like at least on
know.
your part, it's more of a guilt-driven relationship.
Now?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
So you can think about whether it's worth it for you not to feel guilty, or if you think you owe, like, you know, you were saying you don't want to say that because she was hurt before, or if you think it's worth it to put in, you know, whatever minimal amount of effort you have to put in to not feel guilty. Or
Right.
if like you could somehow air it to her in a non-confrontational way, but in a like, hey, remember this? Like, you know, that really hurt my feelings. Did you know that? In, you know, even over an email, it might make it more tolerable. Like if you feel the need to still over guilt remain friends, it might make it more tolerable if you could just get it out.
Right. Yeah,
like guilt friendships are hard.
I can't even imagine writing that email. Like, I'm not motivated to. Like most, you know? I'm not
How
motivated.
often are you feeling guilty about it?
Well, whenever she calls or emails, you
Which
know,
is
and
how
she's
often?
getting once a month.
Mm-hmm.
And if I don't respond, she'll keep, you know,
Right.
so I could hear from her, you know, 6 times in a week, and at some point I'll just pick up the phone because otherwise it'll just continue. And she's like, "Oh, I finally got you. You know, how are you?" And then we have like a, you know,
You
like,
social fake it for.
yeah. And then that's the other thing that makes it like a not fun relationship is like the things that are important to me and that I do with my life, which are mainly play music. I'm not gonna. Well, this is like, why am I being so kind? Like, I don't say to her, well, I got to go because I'm playing trios with Carrie and another pianist.
Why? Because you're worried that she'll be offended, or because you don't even want to talk with her about music at all because of what happened?
I actually think I don't. This is crazy. I think I don't do it because it would be mean.
To tell, because you think it would be like
It would
pushing
be
it in her,
hurtful
shoving
to-
it in her face.
It'd be
kinda.
hurtful to her that I still play music with Carrie.
Might be a good way to get out some frustration, though.
It might be.
In it, because it's not objectively hurtful. It's just something that you know. You didn't exclude her in any way.
Mm-hmm.
She excluded you. You
Mhm.
just played with a person you had played with before.
Mm-hmm.
So it might be a good way to get a little frustration out. If you tell yourself, like, objectively, this isn't objectively mean. I just worry that because of her irrationality, she'll be offended.
Not offended. She might
Feel left out.
She might be left out and
Right,
hurt.
but it's,
like,
you
you
know.
know, like yeah.
Why are they playing music? Well, because you kicked me out of your group.
I know, when you put it that way, it makes so much sense, and it's like, why the hell am I feel like I'm protecting her when she
But
was the one who was...
it might bring up, you know, if you're on the phone with her and you say that, it might bring up an opportunity for her, you know, maybe she seems like the person who would express the hurt. She doesn't seem like the person, is that right? Like, she seems like the person
That
who says...
If I hurt her, she would...
Say something.
Well, except that... Well, I guess she does. It does clearly hurt her that I don't keep up. Or at least she notices it. And she'll say stuff about that. Not quite like asking me, are you intentionally avoiding
Right,
me.
but like,
do
oh,
not
I haven't
like me
heard
for some
from
reason.
you,
Right,
or-
to like tease me, like, oh, you're so hard to get in touch with.
Right.
You know, I feel like, you know,
Just making sure this is still recording. Yeah, so I wonder if she would, you know, indicate that she was feeling a little left out, and then you could say something like, well, you know, I would have loved to, you know, have been, not that you would have, but I would have loved to have been in a group with you, but you refused to play. Yeah, you kicked me out of your group. And see what she, you know. She probably doesn't even, at least it seems, she didn't even recognize that that was hurtful.
Right. That would be interesting. So the next time I talk with her, you know, she says, what's new, whatever, I can say, well, you know, my trio just played a recital at Calliope Music.
Yeah. Yeah. It'd be interesting to see.
It is. It's an interesting, like, this is a social experience. I'm, like, not good at this. But
well, but you have to remind yourself beforehand that it's objectively not hurtful. She could interpret it that way.
Right. But it is provocative.
Not.
It is provocative. You think she might not even take it as provocative.
But it's, if she perceives it that way, if you just look at it objectively, it's not provocative. She's asking you what you're doing, and you're telling her.
Yeah.
And you have left her out in no way whatsoever.
Right.
She kicked you out of the group.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? So it's not provocative.
Mm-hmm.
But if she interprets it that way, then that gives you the opening to kind of say, you know, hey, like, I've been holding this grudge for 15 years. Oh my god. But it's not even like it's a grudge, because it's not like you're sitting thinking about it all the time when you're not interacting with her, but it's like a damage to your relation. You know what I mean? Like if you are looking at your relationship with her, that's a big part of it now. And
it's impossible to know, as you sort of pointed out, it's impossible to know whether I don't enjoy this relationship because of that, or because of just not having that much in common with her.
Right.
I don't.
So you could do that next time and see if you can get an opening to say, like, you know, I would have loved to play music with you, but you kind of, you know, it hurt my feelings when you kicked me out of your group back then. Yeah. And then see, you know, who knows, she could.
But what if she, like, what if she suggests, well, why don't we play now?
You can say, you know, I'm in a ton of groups.
There you go.
You know, well, you are.
I am.
You know, so say, like, you know, I would love to, but I'm in so many groups at this point. Yeah. Yeah. Which is like another little jab. Dig. Like, you know, I just have so many groups.
Right.
But it's true, too. You know, you're not, like, jabbing on purpose. It's just a fact. And then, you know, she could not get what you're saying and just go right over it, or she could apologize and say, I didn't realize, like, now that I think about it, that was kind of a jerk thing to do. And then you could kind of see if you might feel less angry, and then you could see, well, actually, do I get anything out of this relationship?
Well, what should she have done? Okay, so if she didn't want to play with me, because if she didn't want to play with me anymore because it was bugging her that I wasn't as good a player as she,
most people would have made up an excuse. Most people would have made up an excuse why they couldn't do it anymore. I mean, like, social faking wise, that would be like your typical response. I mean, right?
I guess. Yeah.
You know, it's like if somebody invites you to their birthday party and you really don't want to go. You don't say,
I don't like
you're not cool enough.
Yeah.
So not gonna go to your birthday party. So I'm so sorry. Like, I have this, or I was sick, or, you know.
Right.
It's a white lie. You know, it's a socially acceptable white lie that obviously if you were confronted with it, it would be hurtful. But a lot of people do that pretty consistently in, like, their social relationships.
Right.
But maybe she's socially so pushy in a way that she kind of rolls right over those things that most people would just do automatically.
Yeah, and there's no way of knowing how I would have reacted.
But it would be interesting to see if you were feeling less angry at her, if it was more pleasurable interacting with her, or if you might find out actually that I'm really getting nothing out of this at all.
Right. The other thing makes me feel a little guilty is what I do get out of the relationship. The fact that I'm still in touch with her, and she's somebody who has lots of connections.
Mm-hmm.
Like, connections are really important to her, and she has lots of connections. So she actually is a really useful person to call, like if you need a contractor or you need to know where to shop for something or whatever. I mean, I try not to because I'm like, well, if I'm trying not to prolong this relationship, I shouldn't call to ask for advice. But sometimes it's like, she's the perfect person to call because I know she had this great contractor and.
Well, it sounds like it would be helpful to decide what you wanted to do. Like it seems like right now you're kind of in the middle of like, I feel too guilty to just stop being friends with her at all, but I'm also trying to not be friends with her at the same time.
Right.
Whereas if you kind of like, made a decision of like, well, here's what I'm getting out of it. So when I talk with her on the phone, I can say, you know what, this is me putting in my time.
So that I can call her with questions of contractors.
So I can have these, these connections I want them.
Yeah.
I mean.
That's okay, right? That's self-serving, but that's not.
Yeah. She's getting what she needs out of it, and you're getting what you need out of it.
Right.
Out of the relationship.
She's not getting what she wants out of it because she's clearly trying to be closer.
Right. But she's getting some of what she needs out of it, which is to have more personal connections. And she clearly wants a connection with you. So in that way, even though maybe she wants a closer connection, she's still getting something that she wants out of it. Yeah. And then you're getting something that you want out of it. It's not
So I just have to remind myself when I answer the phone, I'm doing this so I can, stay in touch with contractors.
It might make it less annoying. And then the other option is to try to get it off your chest somehow and see if that makes it less burdensome to talk to her.
Right.
Because I would have a really hard time having a grudge against somebody, but then having to guiltily talk with them. Like, feel guilt and anger at them at the same time, I feel like is really difficult.
Yeah. So if I bring up the trio.
Look, I mean, either she's going to roll right over it and not even recognize what you're doing, or she's going to apologize and it might make you feel better, less angry, or she's going to get upset and not want to talk to you anymore, in which case
That's right.
Well.
This is low stakes. It's low stakes on my part.
Yeah.
It's low stakes on my part. Oh my.
Well, we're going to have to stop now, but I'm looking forward to continuing to talk to you about it next time, and you can let me know.
I am too.
You can let me know if you talk with her,
right,
in between.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.